many rabbits wandering into our snares. Not many arrows finding the mark. You did see them go down 1-3 up against the Boop Troop yesterday. Won that first map rather convincingly, but just couldn't find the staying power. Didn't have that gas in the tank to keep it going. On the other side of things, you look back a week ago, it's a similar story. Bit better, though, at the very least, most recently, since they did go down 0-3 to Daystar. ILIAD Helios, though, bring a bit of sunshine and light to those ratios by taking down Dill Donkey, so at least it's all not doom and gloom for ILIAD Esports. And maybe Artemis can take a leaflet out of their book to find the victory. But the opponent this time around, once again, Shikigami, is going to be stepping up, and this is a team that I've gotten to cast for before during the in-house tournament that we had right here in the ILIAD server. So excited to see what they're capable of this time around. I do believe they've been having a bit of a rough season so far. So maybe, from their perspective, a weakened hunter suddenly becomes the prey. Shikigami, lurk in the shadows. But Artemis by no means are going to roll over and go gently into that good night, especially with players like these. Take a look at the rosters here before us. ILIAD Artemis once again going to bear the same names you've come to know and love. A Duck on Quack, noticeably missing yesterday. Maybe just had somewhere to go. Was fiending for something that's just not Overwatch at the moment. Payne Correa, we got to see. Maverick and Industrial and Mardox, the normal cast and crew. But it was Mobutu, the sub, that stepped in. So potentially we might see them make their return as well. Maverick had a really impressive game to start things off on the Hazard, but quickly got targeted out for that. The Reinhardt, it's a misnomer. It's a red herring, if you will. But nonetheless, Industrial on that Lucio as well had a bit of a rough spot. So looking for ILIAD Artemis on their hallmark picks to hopefully see a bit more success. We'll find out. They stand up against the team of Shikigami. That roster also bears some interesting names. They got J-Man there, Anu, Arabona, Z-Panther, and Fiery, ready to step up to the plate. And they see success that Artemis' opponents have prior. We'll find out shortly as we look to see what the first map is going to be. Of course, it's going to be on that control point. Oh my god, it's not Ilios. Guys, surely it's a mistake. Hippie, can you confirm it's not a mistake? Hippie just said it's not. All right, guys, we're going somewhere else. It has been, it feels like weeks. Bit of a nice beachfront vacation, huh? That being said, Ilios is also quite tropical, so the climate doesn't really change, but the scenery certainly does. What does that mean? Well, honestly, high ground is going to be a pretty important thing to keep in mind. And it might be for that reason that if you take a look at what our bans are going to be, our friends on ILIAD Artemis are already starting to consider those who might take the Obi-Wan strategy. I have the high ground. They're going to be banning away that Baptiste. And maybe Shikigami, hearing my loud yapper flapping, decided to ban away that Hazard, knowing how much success that brought to the predecessor opponent. Boop Troop taking away that Hazard really kind of was a turning point that Artemis never seemed to fully recover from. Hopefully, Artemis, like Batman, have a contingency plan. What that will be remains to be seen. But nonetheless, on Oasis, I don't think you're actually mourning too heavily the loss of Hazard in map 1. It establishes pressure. It establishes a good rhythm. That's only if Shikigami take this game. And Artemis can think about it this way, that there's no comfort, there's no momentum built up behind that Hazard. So you're not feeling thrown off kilter. You knew this very well could be a possibility. So Artemis hopefully can start with a fresh foot forward, a deep breath, and attempt to rob the breath from the body of Shikigami. Map 1, round 1, coming at you here. School's in session, suckers. As a public school teacher, very familiar with this scene. It's a parabola. Y equals A x squared. The damage by the undercurrent of x, by the variable of m, equals O squared over top pi, multiplied by the product of n and m squared. And, oh, can we... deeper zoom. Yeah, keep it up. Orange, you're the best. A squared -1 +1. All that squared. Dang it. All right, we'll come back to that. Probably not, actually. But the only numbers you need to count are the bodies dropping on the field. Let's see who wins that equation. I'm seeing so far is no tracer to equal the other tracer. That equation will not cancel out on each side. That's the first rule of math. Work with equations. You always want to make sure it operates across both sides of the equal sign. Duck on Quack is back. And on the Hanzo, too. Stormrail is not finding too much damage or success. Pain Correa lurks in the back lines, waiting for an opportunity. Has revealed their location, though, without finding too much damage. You don't want to show your hand too early. Anu lurks in the corner. Waits for the Reiner to step out, or maybe waits for the charge out so he can easily grab a duck for dinner. What a great kill. The Reinhardt was just not paying attention. Fairly's Pain Correa equalizes it. Takes down Arsona. Mardox will fall. The Kiriko. Anu in trouble. No longer thanks to a good Wraith. Point secured by Shikigami to start. This Reaper's going to be trouble alongside this Malga switch for Maverick. That barrier is going to be toast so quickly. And they've just not been able to secure this kill on Anu. Malga rushes in. Can't quite decide which target they want to go for. Clearly the Rhine is the plan, but they wasted a lot of time and resources. Not doing all that much of anything. They will go for Maverick once more. Good Kitsune rush, though, ensures safety. J-Man cannot find it. Pain Correa takes down one. Maverick joins hands and severs those of Anu. Point secured by Artemis. One Kitsune rush being the cost, honestly, pretty great. Maverick ate up so many resources there. Arsona just took way too much time with the Malga, used 2 cardiac overdrives, and wasn't quite sure they wanted to go for. A bit of split decision making cost them big. Now it's Artemis about to take the lead. A pulse bomb in pocket. Dragons for Hanzo almost online. Pain Correa's been doing a good job hunting down Arsona. But now Duck. Arrow in hand. Drops Anu. Pulse bomb unfortunately drops in the middle of nowhere. J-Man's been a bit quiet here on the Cold Cassidy. But here comes Kitsune rush. The bubble blocks it for the Zarya. And the charge they gain from that is going to allow them to walk this Reinhardt down. A quick charge back to safety. There is none. Arsona lasers him with the back turn. Pain Correa dead as well. Means Artemis have really got to try to put all 10 toes down to survive this. That will not be a luxury they have. Triple pick there for J-Man. A team kill for Shikigami. And the retake is successful. Overextension is the simple answer there of what happened and why it fell apart so quickly. Maverick, that shattered, not impactful, no follow-up really ready. And charging up that bubble for the Zarya is so high. High noon, nah, it's nighttime for you, buddy. J-Man going to try to put one more to sleep. Duck on Quack. First to fall, Maverick right alongside. Now this Cole is really starting to pop off. Drops the spray too, just so you really can know they mean business. Shikigami have lapped the percents of Artemis, but it's attempted back cap there from Pain Correa. Forces Shikigami to turn tail and grants Artemis the breathing room necessary to stack up. Here comes one more Kitsune rush. We've seen how impactful these can be. Anu's already dead. Might be all it's necessary. Suzu is down. Maverick knows it too. Wisely tries to go for the Kiriko, who was vulnerable, but a great bubble. Keeps him safe for a bit longer. Not enough time, though. Now they're wandering in a spawn. Pain Correa dishing out as much as their namesake might implicate they can get. 3 ultimates, though, for Shikigami. And ILIAD Artemis only just crossed 80% threshold. Sound barrier's going to have to be on point. And that pulse bomb, you have to hope, can find the right target. J-Man's the optimal. But you gotta wait for that bubble to be down. Graviton Surge answered back with the tank ultimate. Here comes that amazing pulse, but it's already stuck on a sound barrier targets. Firing keeps them all alive. Pain Correa and Duck, the only ones not. That's quickly changed. Pain Correa, the sole survivor. 99 was reached, but they could not complete. Shikigami with some great sound barrier from Fiery. Pankray nearly found the solution. Lucio robs them of it. It's a backcap attempt. A C9 potential. Pankray won't find it. Nearly finds death. Able to stay up for now. Now 99-99. Here comes the high noon from J-Man. Tries to find a target, but a Kitsune rush. Ready to rush in right after. Great Reinhardt block as well. This is going to get hairy. Death Blossom waiting around the corner. Here it comes. The bubble as well. Pops Industrial, and Pankray's already dead. Trapped in the corner. The Reinhardt's just trying to bait them in. J-Man will oblige. Bites for it, and then quickly gets bitten right back. But it's ILIAD ARTEMIS who are going to fall. Team kill. The way of Shikigami. And with no one left to touch. That's all said and done.
Score 0-1.
Not too shabby a start. Shikigami know that their opponent might be in a weakened state. No matter how much time's between them, losses begin to compound. A streak deepens the divot. It's like that equation we saw on the board. It's multiplicative, not additive. The impact of compounding losses. ILIAD ARTEMIS need to shake this off. You can see right there by the records, ILIAD ARTEMIS 8-6 in terms of their season record, whereas Shikigami 3-11. Maybe it's a bit of underestimation from ARTEMIS. Or then again, maybe Shikigami are just punching that far above their payload. Same comp being stuck to. Duck's been having a hard time finding their place. On the Hanzo and Cassidy both. Whereas J-Man's really starting to feel like they're coming into their own, especially when you've got backup like that Kiriko. Drops Pankray with ease. Anu does the same. The opposing Cassidy, and this Reinhardt really struggling to get something going. Industrial not going anywhere but the gray screen. Maverick and Marduk's going to join him. And maybe this is just truly where that hazard ban can be so useful. You know what Maverick wants to play. You know they're itching for it. But they can't hover over that hero today. Maverick, speed boost forward, launches a couple flame strikes, but finds nothing but air. Ultimate nearly online here for J-Man. Gonna be the first one with it at this rate. You see the differential there between Duck, who's just not been able to find their deeps. High Noon is ready. Will it be used? Good one pick there for Manu. The left side flank there could provide some trouble. Suzu's on both sides. The Kitsune charge from Mardox, but the damage is already done. J-Man took down Pankray. And Maverick's just swinging at nothing, quite literally leaping at shadows, at ghosts. Anu is doing such a good job at corralling Maverick alongside Arsona that this tank player who likes to dive into their backline and just free farm, ult farm, cannot get anything to grow. This is unfertile ground. It's only wet by the blood of Duck. The Shatter does find Anu, but Pankray goes down with far less of a cost. Nade around the corner, not necessary. The shot's right on the mark. Maverick drops. 75% secured by Shikigami. ARTEMIS have got to start stoking the embers of revolt. The fire's grown low. Might just be only coals left. But if you blow on it, just the right frequency, just the right amount of pressure, it can become a roaring fire. Instead, though, it's ARTEMIS getting burned away. A Graviton alongside a High Noon. 4 members dead. Only Duck on the Tracer now remains alive. Not for long. That filter looks rough. And that's going to be Shikigami taking map 1. I'm not going to lie to you folks. That one was rough. I think we are letting them dictate the pace of battle far too much. I think we need to do what we saw in map 1 yesterday. Flow. Duck was the only one who seemed to be willing to change their battle strategy. This Reinhardt against the Zarya never was having an easy time. Right there, Anu waits in the corner. Maverick gets lured out. And the Reaper descends on the chicken's coop like a hungry fox. No one there to protect the back line. You just need to string together some successful fights. You need to string together a comp that feels more cohesive. I'm not sure how this comp does really kill Arsona at this rate. The Tracer was marking them for a short amount of time. That was paying Corre. Then there's a switch. Duck was trying to go for these more sharpshooter classes. We had the Hanzo, we had the Cassidy. Neither successful. It feels like we're reaching so deep into our bag on the first map that you're not going to have any tricks left in it if this even can reach a map 4. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that eventuality for now. Focus on the present, not the far future. And the near distant future is telling us a new map is about ready. It's going to be New Junk City. Flashpoint action, a bit less static, a bit more intense with the phrase because how quickly those points stack up. And we saw ARTEMIS on this map forge a very solid lead. They were up 2 flashpoints up against their opponent's poop troop, and then all of a sudden they lost their sight on the main objective. So I'd say just be careful. Make sure we recognize what we're playing for. This is not team deathmatch. No. This is a game about the OBJ. Objective right now for ARTEMIS, ban away that Zarya. I don't blame them. That thing was causing very large issues. Shikigami say, Pain Cran the Reaper, don't want to see it. Nothing too big at stake here besides potential match point for Shikigami. ARTEMIS do have some more room to make mistakes, but you don't want to see that happen again. It's not just about if you lose a map, it's always about how you lose a map. And I think losing on an uncontested 100-0, especially when you consider the grander context of where ILIAD ARTEMIS is right now. You want to see them thrive. You want to see them survive. You want to see them pick themselves up off the ground, dust off those shoulder pads, and get back into the fight. Will that be the case? We'll find out shortly. New Junk City coming at you. Does the hazard make a return? I would hope so. Sometimes all you need to feel better is grandma's chicken noodle soup, right? Comfort food. Not that Campbell's straight out the can. Absolutely not. Something warm, a pinch on the cheek, a pat on the back, and someone to tell you that it's going to be all okay. I'd like to tell them that. But the reality is they also have to take on part of the onus to ensure that becomes a reality. This isn't something you can just wish away the pain. Pain Cray is literally on your team anyway. You have to make sure that you're wanted, that you're fighting for it. Because right now it seems like Shikigami want it more. That's one hardcore duck. Dang, man. You mosh? Looks kind of terrified. I wouldn't mind. I don't really blame him. Seems like not the healthiest environment for a rubber ducky. I don't know if y'all can see the chat. I don't know if y'all can see the chat from these players, but we got some interesting players here on ILIAD ARTEMIS. Clearly, they're not going to let a couple bad losses get to them. And I love that. Mobutu is back. And on the Sojourn. Trying to take some lessons there from their opponents yesterday. I believe it was Nex. Was really making that work. No, that was the Tracer, actually. The Sojourn yesterday was really finding stride. Arsona now on the Junker Queen. Maverick back on the Mauga they prefer for this map. That's fine. Just got to make sure we're finding the right target to dive. The war cry is elicited. And the flashpoint's open. Maverick's already dead. The first blood goes to Arsona. She is the queen, after all, of new junk. Point secured for Shikigami. Anu's now on this Genji. No longer able to play the Reaper they so adored. Everything else staying about the same. J-Man, though, is rocking this Tracer. Keep that in mind, too. Scrappy, divey, Shikigami frontline. Anu, though, in trouble. A deflect and well-used cover keeps them safe. Tracer 1v1. Going to always be an important point to look at. Pain Kure versus J-Man. Already Kitsune rush there from Mardox. First open of the game, but what results from it? Ferried from one side of the outer ring to the other. Z-Panther, though, was the main objective, and they will go down. Anu surrounded on all sides. Fiery amid salt and smoke goes down. Anu, though, does deflect Pain Kure into the grave. Damage already done, though. That's going to be a retake from Artemis. Not too much used in the process. It's a Kitsune rush, really. And a point in the game where not many ultimates were online. Very good awareness from Mardox to recognize I probably have the advantage. I'm dealing out a lot of healing. Z-Panther has not really had need to get as much supporting done. So there won't be a response to it. Already at 30% too. Really smart play. Love it when you're not holding on to an ult for too long. Overclock ready for Mobutu. Instantly pops it. Love that too. Shikigami corralled into a corner by them in the Mauga. Forced to reconsider. Z-Panther dying again. Absolutely going to force a reset. Certainly if Fiery and Arsuna go down as well. Mobutu waits in the turn the corner. Instantly pops overclock. Lets Maverick absorb all of those bullets like the sponge they are. And still manages to find 2 kills. Impressive work. Artemis now starting to catch up. 80%. Maybe that vibes reset from those pre-game messages is all they needed. If that's the case, we truly have one of the most interesting teams in all of FaceIt. A Rampage met instantly with Cardiac Overdrive. An immovable object meets an unstoppable force. Anu up top has Dragon Blade, but do they decide to use it? No, they decide to lose it. Mobutu takes their head. OT established. Artemis not going to give it up that easily. But they need to end the fight sooner before the Genji rejoins with Blade in pocket. J-Man's got pulse. Pain Kure dodges. Mobutu drops him. OT. This is looking OD. Junker Queen steps up. Mauga looks to walk her down. Dragon Blade is available, but I don't imagine Anu's going to want to use it now. This fight's essentially lost. Still lose your life, though. Unfortunately, can't get out unscathed. First flashpoint does go to Artemis. That's what you want to see. Now the question is, do they decide to use every ultimate here before the point opens up 22 seconds beforehand? How much do you value starting with your best foot forward before percentage can even be gained? Pain Kure says quite a bit. They get the stick, but a Suzu from Mardox, or rather from Z-Panther, is able to save their support brother-in-arms. Good attempt, though. Pain Kure's already at 22% anyway. And Anu's already dead. Overclock. Just as soon as the point opens, nearly drops Tracer as well. Mobutu, if you wanted them to embody the performance we saw yesterday from their opponents on the Boop Troop, you cannot ask for better. 15-player kill streak for the Sojourn. We're doing a good job of not overextending. We're pulling back. Maverick making sure not to go method. This Mauga's got to realize it's not all just fun and games. Sune rush on out. Mardox just trying to force them back, but might have opened up an avenue. Here comes the Dragon Blade. Mobutu's the first to fall. Mauga begins to get sliced apart, but Cliff Strike already expended. Anu can't follow. Pain Kure takes down Z-Panther, and Arsona's dead too. Great recall keeps him alive from the Genji's clutches. Lucio forced to retreat. Anu knocked off their feet. Good hold from Artemis. 80% established. Now do they overextend is the question. Gotta make sure to stay safe. Lucio, maybe need to listen to my Words of advice. Does not heed them. A good rampage. Unfortunately, the point was already secured. Any damage is consolation prize at this point, and you won't even find the consolation kill. A risky attempt, but maybe Arsona says for the best. I was going to switch either way. Brings out the Mauga. Maverick's about to have Cage up as well. A sound barrier and a pulse. Versus a pulse and a Kitsune rush. Point opens up. Does seem Shikigami have dominance over it. Doesn't really matter until the Maugas step up until one of them dies. Z Panther has to use that Suzu rather early. That pulse bomb means cannot be shrugged off if they find the damage. Cage is out for Maverick. Keeps them locked in. Arsona already dead. Mardox finishes off the J-Man, and Fiery breaks the cage far too late. The Hell in a Cell match is already over. Shikigami did grab the point at first, but a team kill ensures it quickly falls back in the hands of the rightful owner. Not too much used there either, just the cage from the Maverick. Kitsune rush and overclock from Shiki. Sound barrier there for Fiery. And the Kitsune rush instantly elicits it. Anchorray is dead. A great pick from Z Panther. Two Maugas collide. Forces out the Suzu from Artemis. And they will both fall. Arsona gets the last laugh from the grave. Overclock from Mobutu. Mardox finishes the kill on J-Man, and Mobutu quickly turns head over heels to drop Fiery 6 feet under. A three-piece for the Sojourn. Mobutu, since yesterday, has honestly been one of the shining points of ILIAD Artemis' offense. Duck must have slipped them the secret stash. They are cracked right now. Anu, cracked in half. 90% there for Artemis. Arsona shoulders past the pulse bomb. Can't quite weather the storm of damage, though. Mobutu is unleashing. OT, drop down, and Artemis. A clean sweep of the Flashpoint map. It's all tied up. Let me tell you, man, that was decisive. That was what you want to see. This is how ILIAD Artemis turn things around. If you're at the point in the story, if you're writing Homer's epics, people always say it, a character's rock bottom is when you can see the greatest development, is when you can see the greatest change. Is 2 losses in a row the farthest down they've gone under? No, but it certainly is not a high point. And it's a moment where you can see real growth, real development. I think Mobutu stepping up from the sub bench to run the DPS is very impressive. And you've got to hope they can do it again. These overclocks were just so good. Look at that, man. I don't even know how you killed the Genji there. Dude shot into like the 3rd dimension. Insanity. Also, do pardon, friends. Shikigami did not take New Junk City. That was indeed an ILIAD Artemis victory. Wait. Am I bugging? Unless... Hold on, guys. Surely, right? Okay, huge. So it is 1-1 on the scoreboard. And that means Circuit Royale is up next. A good standing here as well for Artemis, who have played this in a very interesting way before. I've gotten to see it where some teams will oftentimes, especially around that first point, have the Pharah locked and loaded, hit second point, instantly switch off to something a bit more favorable indoors. I'm curious to see what they decide to go for with the bans. As soon as I say it, I should have known. Shikigami, hear my mouth running. And they say, we're not going to see her flying. Pharah banned away. ARTEMIS make an interesting decision. It is rare to see them ban the Lucio, but Industrial's been having a bit of a hard time. Not getting the picks that I remember them in their prime, oftentimes being a very offensive Lucio. Yesterday was their opposition, who was really running their fade quite a little bit, oftentimes being the first one to fall in combat. Perhaps banning the option away entirely is a good way to split the baby. Map 3. ILIAD ARTEMIS versus Shikigami. Circuit Royale, we get to see what these teams are made of. Tied up, each team has felt the sting of defeat, tasted the sweet nectar of victory. And you know what they're all fighting for? Chance to go swimming in that floaty. You first got to kill the enemy team for it. Everyone wants it. They just changed color. I gotta lay down. Off to the races here, folks. Shikigami is on offense first. See if it keeps going like this. In terms of ARTEMIS holding the reins. Maybe instead we're seeing things freeze over a little bit. Quite the change being made here by ILIAD ARTEMIS. Industrial no longer present. Stella instead steps up, and the Alari is present. Duck on Quack, subs back in. Mabutu on the bench. Hopefully Duck can start things strong. The Mei Hanzo comp, very feast or famine in terms of what your DPS is capable of. Arsona, Sigma's debut. Same with Z-Panth on the Juno, Fire and the Brigitte. But Duck's got a good posting here. Solar Turret, of course, able to provide them some easy sustain that is hard to disrupt. No splash damage available to really stop them. And Duck's doing a good job of keeping the Sigma at bay. Maverick's back on the Rhine. Now, the real question is, how are we able to relieve pressure so they're not just stuck in shield the entire time? Marduk's dying is certainly not the answer. And now the pressure begins in earnest. A Mei wall provides ample cover. Shikigami slowed down, but certainly not stopped as they begin to approach the first point. ARTEMIS prepare for a touch around the corner. No ultimates up. It's all going to come down to technicals. Anu drops the turret. Knows the utility of him. J-Man also on the Sojourn. Commemorative performance. Mabutu put up a commemorative performance to their opponent yesterday. Everything's derivative. But if you can make it look good. Reinhardt, not looking great with the health, but a wall cuts off Arsona's escape, and the pin ensures their end. That's all you needed. That's all you wanted. Maverick's looking for more, though. Slices J-Man in half. Just don't get overzealous. Good hold there by ARTEMIS. No changes quite elicited yet from Shikigami. Duck, ultimate available. Didn't even get to see one used last time the Hanzo showed its head. I imagine the moment they begin to turn that corner, that's when the ultimate comes out. But first, it's going to come the gravity. The orbital laser as well. The blizzard right back down. The earth shatter. Everything must go, including Anu's life. The Duck has been shot down. And it's a laser in return from Z-Panther. So far, fight favors ARTEMIS. The Alari takes to the skies, ensures heals and damage for anyone who dares step up against them. Overall, quite the bloodless scrap for how much was expended. So much respect being played around this corner, knowing how dangerous the Meis are in this scenario. Still has that Hanzo already, but it's J-Man. Pins Maverick up against the wall and shuts them down. But the dragon arrow from Duck finds the collat kill. Reverses the odds. Artemis could fight this. But Duck's got to do a bit more. Can't find the shots. But they're buying time. That might be what's necessary. Pain Correa trades out Anu for the Duck. And Artemis ward off the oppressors once more. 40 seconds left. Shikigami need to make something happen. They need a rallying cry both figuratively and luckily it's available literally. But now's the time to pop it. Fiery waits for their chance. Anticipation. Suspense, the drama. They're itching to go to battle. 10 seconds left. Orbital ready for Mardox in return. Duck's back on the snipes. Here comes the laser to start things off, but now you're sent up to high heaven. Trying to drop him into hell. It won't succeed. Sigma's in trouble. They've been dropped and Fiery's dead too. No rallying cry here. It'll be caught in your throat as they tear it out of your body. A near team kill to finish things off. And Artemis hold firm. They've found their stride.
Score 0-0. Switching sides.
There's certainly no way that those insane out-of-pocket messages in the pregame lobby from last game is what the turning point was. There's no way. Surely not. Nonetheless, Duck absolutely gets all the laurels for stalling that fight. Taking down the tank and the support was so pivotal in that moment. And unfortunately for the Sigma there, it was a great attempt with the Gravitic Flux. Doesn't really find much. Neither did the Shatter, granted. Both tank ultimates just kind of whiffing at air. But you can see right there the big difference. Duck on Quack is at the top of the stack. Just where you want to see them. Stella on this ILIAD is actually a grand reason for that. A sniper's nest established with a turret that can easily allow for no babysitting necessary, but still consistent heals. Stella, though, switches to a bit of a firmer pocket. Mercy gonna be here to rock it. Maverick sticks to the Rhine. Pain Correa operating on the Sim, and Duck operating on the clicking heads modem. Takes down Anu to start things off. The shot heard around the world. The war begins anew. Arsona is on this Orisa. J-Man on the Hanzo and Fire on the BAP. This comp's a bit more efficacious at fighting from range. Duck quickly finds that out as a spear enters their body. We have to play it a bit more carefully now. There are waves from the defensive view. These spears are going to be constantly aimed for Duck. A great pin and a great kill from the tank. But not too much space needs to be gained. There's 3 minutes. And you can already almost see the benchmark. There's no easier rally cry, and Duck says, all right, no way I'm about to be out Hanzo'd. Y'all see my play last game? Let me remind you. J-Man peeks. But unfortunately, their head's left leaking. Mardox takes them down. Duck, same story. No Hanzo, no more. Points already starting to reach those last crucial meters. 7 away, the lamp's already down. Some good heals out from Mardox, and Pain Correa takes down their body double. The Terror Surge does drop Stella. Shoving the muzzle of the gun point blank in the Rhine's face. They do find the health pack, launch themselves headlong into a wall. Maverick's still somehow alive, and in the meantime, the point advances on forward. ILIAD Artemis are able to take the second game, for, or rather, third map, second map for them. Duck, I will say, had a stellar performance. Night and day when you look at their map 1 and map 3. Exactly what you wanted to see. The moment they started that round with a pick onto Anu, you knew this is a different duck you're dealing with. None of that funny business. None of that Daffy. None of that Donald, no. It's all serious all day. Shikigami now on death's door. After a stellar performance there to start. Things are starting to look a bit more rough. The doldrums of the 3-11 record, the flaws, they start to show their head. Can they overcome? Will we see this go to map 5? I can tell you what this one is. I don't even need it this time, but I do, of course, have to make sure I have my lexicon in the back, should it be necessary. That's Runasapi right there. That font's too gosh darn small. Did you guys know Runasapi's in Peru? I learned that today. Pero nos vamos ahí. Un viaje corto, o tal vez un poco más largo. Y los mapas se continúan. Artemis stand at the precipice of their first victory in quite some time. Break the streak. Break their bow over the heads of those scrappy upstarts on Shiki. Shiki, to their credit, have certainly put up quite the fight. But it seems to be almost a reverse story. Artemis up against Boop Troop yesterday. So much ferocity shown by Shikigami in that first map. But was it all just because they banned the hazard? Even though we haven't gotten to see it be used, maybe it's just a passive ban or a passive nerf against Maverick whenever that character is unavailable to be played. It's like the shrimp theory. You know, if you aren't allergic to shrimp, you still don't want to eat shrimp. But the moment they tell you that you can't eat it, you want it. You want it bad. What I want to do is take a look at these hero bans. We'll be hopping into them shortly. Good to see what is being taken off the board. It's the Tracer from Shikigami, anticipating that Pain Corray will be back on that prized pick. They don't want to face that Ditto. I don't blame them. The Sojourn, honestly, though, could be the bigger fear. If they put Mobutu back in, would not be surprised to see that be where they first go. Last time we got Runasapi, I do believe it was a Roadhog Ditto being played by both teams, Boop Troop and Artemis. I want to see Maverick play their own game. And they're going to make sure that Shikigami can't play theirs. Taste of their own medicine, they ban the Orisa. Momentum, folks, is always a big part of this game, and being held before first point on a payload map, I'm trying to think of what feels worse, honestly. Being shut out of 100% from a control map, 100-0, I don't think that feels as bad. Because the game can still last a decent amount of time. Whereas, man, does it feel short? On a payload map, when you only get to reach that first threshold, I think that does something a bit worse. I think it's a bit more of a gut punch. It drives the air from your body, the wind from your lungs. Makes it hard to breathe. Shikigami. Need to do some diaphragmatic breathing here. Take 3 deep ones. Inhale. Exhale. Not sure if my mic picked it up, but I totally did that. Off to the races we go, folks. It's Runasapi for potentially the last map of the series. Shikigami have the chance to tie it up once more. Artemis just trying to put the wild beast out of its misery. An arrow knocked on the bowstring. An eye squinted nearly shut. They prepare to let it fly. The death blow. And again, I do think this is going to come a lot in cases down to the tanks. The tanks, and also particularly one member of each DPS team, I think is really causing a lot of havoc. Whether it be Duck or Mobutu, I think Pancray's been a bit more quiet. Just today so far.
Initiating match.
J-Man's had some amazing streaks. But I don't think today's a story of supports. I think it's about the tanks and the deeps. Off to Runasapi we go. Very pretty architecture, of course. Bulls look cool, too. Can you get out of the path of their charge? If you're on Shikigami and Maverick staring you down on the Rhine, you better hope the answer's yes. An eagle's call in the background.
Ready
The
for
carrion birds hover overhead, knowing a battle is brewing. Shikigami on their last legs. Can they limp across the finish line, or does their path end here? A brief survey of the battlefield before all turns to chaos.
3, 2.
No way this Hamston gets through.
Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
Never mind. Maverick is a mad lad. They say, you think I can only play Hazard? You're about to find out. They seem to know the location, or maybe quite not yet. It's a game of peekaboo. One that Hamston wins quite a bit of ult charge from. J-Man is operating on this Bastion. Mobutu on the Soldier. Mardox on the end of a spit. Now, the issue, of course, is going to be there's no peel for your backline. You are really relying on Industrial, who's now back on the keys, to be kept safe. Mobutu on the Soldier can do a bit of assistance with the healing. Still not the best. Shikigami got to agree as they quickly take advantage of the point. Triller form for the Bastion, baits out DP. Z Panther, though, will fall. Maverick doing their job. Pancray is on this Pharah. Cannot wait the bubble. That's okay, we can just shoot her down right after. First, all that momentum she had going. Bastion, similarly, disassembled for scrap. A retake from Artemis, now they can begin to establish their claim on the point.
The barricade is making progress.
Maverick begins hooking their way across the skies. Ever seen a hamster enter the troposphere? We're about to see it. Anhu. Nearly must bid them on adieu. Still does stay alive. Mobutu on the Soldier is an interesting point. I did mention the Sojourn, but I think that with that Hamston no longer there to provide peel, Soldier makes sense there to stabilize everyone as he would. Anu encounters too much resistance there on the left flank. Decides to think better of it. Now it's Arsona on the Roadhog, maybe doing some studying there up against ILIAD Artemis from yesterday. Knows they lost that one. Visor comes out, but the kills just will not fall. Mobutu finally takes down one, and now, hey, when it rains, it pours. Z Panther and Anu are dead. Pancray gets the rocket barrage in just to join in on the fun. Ultimates certainly look flashy right now, don't they? Arsona can't take the fireworks. A team kill for Artemis. An advantage is gained. Quite the hefty one, too. They continue to advance. J-Man does have High Noon ready. Fiery approaches sound barrier range, and Arsona now on the Diva. A big ambush there from Mobutu. A suicide mission, it would seem, as they cost their own life in trade for Z Panther and J-Man. Anu does trade out for Pancray, even Steven so far. Industrial takes matters into their own hands. Can't finish the job. That's okay, Maverick can do it just fine. The Hamston's working out. I think Mobutu is doing a good enough job causing chaos and also stabilizing the back lines. Mardox and Industrial not having as hard of a time beneath the pressure. Of course, this Cassidy is not going to be diving their back line quite as heavily as a Reaper once was. And Anu is just being hunted down by this lethal hamster. Nothing there from the high noon. J-Man uses an aesthetic ult. Gun looks awfully flashy, buddy. Doesn't really matter, though, if it's not killing anyone. Main Cray peeks corner. Decent damage off on the J-Man. Not enough, though. Sound barrier out from firing. One is available from Industrial, but they decide to hold it. Might cost them big. They've lost 2. Anu the sacrifice, and Hampson in trouble. Ducks back into cover. Bot is taking control for Shikigami, but they have quite a lot of ground to gain. I don't think ILIAD ARTEMIS are going to easily let them reach much progress. In fact, contest them before Bot reaches the barricade at all. That's the power of that Hampton. A sound barrier in the back from Industrial. The fight continues, and J-Man and Panther are already done. Stabilizing field, unfortunately not able to save Mobutu as Anu swiftly strikes them down. That being said, does not mean Anu survives the tail. It's a bad ending for you, as they reach the end of a cliff. Arsona finds a similar fate. And Artemis, because of that staggering of the self-destructs, actually do get quite a bit of time to advance even further. A bomb ready. The J-Man's the one blown up. Rocket Barrage available as well. Here comes the Dragon Blade, but does Far decide to pull the trigger? The answer's gonna be no. They let Industrial eat it. Instead, Mobutu shoves Molten Lead down Anu's throat. DPS ult for DPS ult. Artemis win that battle in spades. Pain Correa wisely holding that Rocket Barrage, knowing that damage could be dished right back at them. J-Man does have their ult ready. When the optimal time to use it, the mines come down and J-Man rises up. Great work by the Diva to strip the mines from their area, though. J-Man had safe landing. Anu has no safety at all, no refuge. Pankare still holding on to that ultimate, and the Kitsune Rush only means you can be ferried back to safety quicker into the loving arms of your team, but they're all starting to corral together. Pankare might see an opportunity here. They stem the trigger finger, satisfied with the kill on the Diva mech. Mobutu finishes off the baby. Pankare unfortunately in trouble, corralled into a building. That bird needs to fly, that Farah needs to use its wings. Amston needs to use his ball to roll on out. Pankare somehow survived that encounter. Still has that ultimate. I will say we are starting to approach the point where might be a bit too long. We're holding on to it. Sombra is out. Mauga is here. Shikigami trying to make some audible adjustments. That Rocket Barrage still dangerous. With the Sombra out. Does there have any answer? Certainly not J-Man. High noon. Blown back to high heaven. Sound barrier comes too late to save anyone. J-Man's corpse gets a nice little bubble shield around it, but I don't think they're thanking you too much for it. Especially now that Mobutu's got the tac visor on out. Arsena falls to the arsenal. The soldier's bearing. Maverick takes down Fiery. And Artemis begin what very well could be the final push. A filtering of kills. Artemis doing a great job at finding these picks in staggered locations. Kitsune Rush, Marduk says we're trying to put an end to it quick. But Z-Panther answers back in like fashion. The mines are ready. Pankare's not. They're dead. Maverick, a bit stunned for words, trying to drive the Mauga out of position. Instead, they put themselves into a tough bind. Overzealotry will get you killed, but at least does get the bot to the near very end of the map's limit. Now Shikigami with 1:40 left must win several consecutive fights to have a hope of continuing the series. It's not going to be easy, but it's not impossible. With Mobutu playing like this, though, you might have me eating my words, as they have you eating bullets. J-Man This is served up first, and Z-Panther says, I'll have what he's having. Anu says, I'll have what he's having, what she's having.
Large utility robot in our control.
These mags are rated E for everyone. A 3-piece for the soldier.
I'm with you.
I said they needed to string multiple fights together. They couldn't even cobble together one.
60 seconds remaining. Forward square activated.
My rockets are fueled.
This is an amazing performance so far by Artemis. They concede control of the robot. 40 seconds left, but Mobutu's back on the visor. The Suzu comes out in a panic response, but no one was even low. Now you are, you're 0. Panther's the first to fall. But the hamster, next up on the food chain. Marduk's nearly stomped out. A good Suzu plays that corner beautifully. The most dangerous game of Ring Around the Rosie you've ever did see. But at the end, we all fall down. Both supports are dead. 3 ults for Shikigami. A deadly pinata waiting around the corner in the form of Maverick.
10 seconds remaining.
Anu unfortunately didn't win a candy prize. Instead, they're the one who gets beaten with the stick. A sound bear from Fiery ensures they stay safe beneath Paincare's bullets. The barrage does nothing. Justice will not be had today. Maverick, though, launches up the Lucio, tries to finish them off. A good Suzu from Panther ensures that won't be the case just yet. Overtime. Shikigami cannot take a step off that bot. Arsonas knows it. The point's contested, but that might be a boon. Shikigami have to stay caught up with the robot, and now the Malga's surrounded. Just where they want to be. Anu takes down Industrial. Paincore finishes off Arsonas, and no one's left to take care of the OBJ. Artemis break the streak. They take it in 4.
Play of the game.
No surprise. Absolutely none. What an excellent day for Mobutu. Insane plays off the bench. This goes to show how deep this roster of Artemis truly is. Shikigami on this first map had such an amazing start. J-Man was on fire with the Cassidy. Anu did such a great job of eliciting Maverick out, waiting for their moments, and diving into the back line like a kid in a candy store. And stuffing their cheeks. But something just seemed to click into place for Artemis come map 2. I think that Shikigami were not flexing quite enough. Again, you have to be like water. You need to be willing to change. You need to be willing to adapt to survive. Those who are resistant, those who dig in their heels and stubbornly say, we can do it, it's the execution, not the comp. Extinction is the only fate that awaits. And this map right here was truly one that settled Artemis with their nerves. If they had any going in, stopping them on Shikigami before they reach first point on the payload map is truly impressive. And the speed with which they overtook that mileage cemented them as a team that deserves to be here, as a team that deserves to win. Shikigami, though, to their credit, they put up some firm instances of resistance. I think, though, Arsona on that Zarya, man, was truly the thorn in Artemis' side. Unfortunately, though, that thorn can be banned away. With that, it is going to be a 3-1 series victory, the way of ILIAD Artemis. And they can feel pretty solid about that, especially given the fact that it's been a bit of a bumpy road to get to this point. But again, sometimes to experience the peaks of victory, you have to go through the valleys of defeat. Artemis took that with good faith. They did not cope with their blows. They said, no, there's reasons. There are flaws in our plan. We are not perfect. We can overcome. And you can see it as well in those pre-lobby chats. They are a team that thrives off vibes. They will survive. They will succeed. Taking a look overall at the week's records, ARTEMIS once again. Last week, they started the day with an 0-3 sweep against them. Helios let the sun set on an ILIAD victory. When night fell, ARTEMIS unfortunately could not resist the Shadow's temptation. Fell 1-3 to Boop Troop. But it's a new day as ILIAD ARTEMIS end the week